Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
I'm Glennon Doyle, author of Untamed and host of the podcast We Can Do Hard Things. Each week, we talk openly and honestly about the hard things in life together with you. So join us and some of our dearest friends and greatest heroes to talk about anxiety, boundaries, parenting, infidelity, our bodies, loving and losing, all of the things that make us human. Listen to and follow We Can Do Hard Things on Odyssey and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to season 16, episode number 3474. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are in the Men's Room. On tap today, Ryan Castle joins us from his basement bar dungeon studio, and once again, we will sit and spin. Today, how time flies with 10 songs that were hits 20 years ago. We will play Profile This, plus headlines, Men's Room Shot of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
The clack, drunkity.
All right, here we go. Florida man goes to Walmart, picks up a case of soda, and then accidentally shoots himself in the thigh. Meanwhile, a neighbor politely asks woman to shut her window when she's serving her delicious pie. Man gets drunk, then throws bucket of urine at girlfriend when she says no to sex. Vegan mom mad at ex-husband because he's giving his child nuggets that look like T-Rex. And an Arizona woman tries to convince cops that someone, somewhere, would want to have sex with her. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
Wrong. Now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, generally speaking, people who have a job try to do a good job, or at worst, do a good enough job that they keep their job. Now, that said, sometimes, in spite of our best efforts, it's just not our day. For example, Atlanta Braves pitcher, oh boy, I hope I get this right, Huascar Inoa. Now, he did not have his best game yesterday pitching against the Brewers. He wanted to, he just didn't have the stuff that day, and it happens, but, well, Oscar, he let his frustration get the best of him, and he punched a bench in the dugout. That's nothing new. You see guys do it all the time. The difference in this case is he broke his hand, his throwing hand, and now he'll be out for at least a month, probably longer. Kind of embarrassing, kind of. Truly embarrassing would be, I don't know, being a member of the Qatar Emirati Air Force, training on an F-15QA fighter jet, and then accidentally ejecting yourself while the plane is still on the runway. In fact, they hadn't even fired up the engines yet. It didn't happen to one guy. It happened to 2 trainees earlier today in Missouri. You see, Qatar ordered 36 of the jets, which feature all types of new upgrades, which apparently does not include clearly marked eject buttons. And even when things are clear, it doesn't mean that you'll notice, even if you really, really should. Say you're a bridge inspector. And the bridge you're inspecting has a massive crack in a support beam. Well, you shouldn't miss that. And then you really shouldn't miss it twice. But an inspector in Arkansas, he did precisely that, and he was fired. And we'll tell you how significant this bridge is to the transportation of not one, but two states coming up. But if you really want to be embarrassed, I don't know, maybe you're the DEA agent who shot himself while demonstrating gun safety to school children. Not a good look. In fact, he's so embarrassed about it, this is not a lie. He is suing the DEA because they put out the video, and so many people who work for the DEA are still... This happened in 2004. They are still making fun of him so much. He has a lawsuit against the DEA. He's tired of being humiliated. Look, maybe the guy's a jackass. Maybe you feel bad for him. We don't know. Sometimes your day at work, it just does not go well. Christ almighty, at least twice a week here at the radio station, things are on fire you don't even know about. Mike's freaking out. Some tech has gone down. The mics don't work. We forgot our headphones. Sometimes it's just that day. And that is what today's question is. Who really messed up at work? And did you feel bad for them?
Be part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send your emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
Everything is better electrified. Like the guitar, toothbrushes, or cars. And Hyundai has a wide range of electrified vehicles, including the first ever Tucson and Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs. You can use electric when you want it or gas when you need it. It's your journey. Evolve it beyond the pump in the 2022 Tucson or Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs. Visit your nearest Hyundai dealer or learn more at HyundaiUSA.com. Only available in select states. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Oh, the show is and away we go. Welcome to season 16, episode number 3,474. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Once again, we'll welcome in Ryan Castle. Actually, we won't. He's still at home in his basement dungeon, studio bar type thing. We will sit and spin, and we'll figure out how fast time flies today. We'll go back 20 years, which, on paper seems like a pretty good chunk of time. But
sure does.
When you listen to some of the music that came out 20 years ago, you say, I cannot believe that song is 20 years old.
Yep, that means you're getting old, Miles.
That really does, man. Just time flies. So we have 10 songs that were hits 20 years ago today on Sit and Spin. You'll be shocked by the list just based on time itself. So Ryan Castle coming up with that. And today we talk about work, and we start with this story. And this happened at St. Louis Airport in Illinois. Reports are still coming in about an accident involving a Qatar Emiri Air Force fighter jet at Mid-America St. Louis Airport. Emergency responders, they were on the scene at 7:30 a.m. The two crew members on board ejected while the aircraft was on the ground. Early reports indicated that one of them was injured and taken to the hospital for observation, while the other was unhurt. Photos and video footage show the aircraft, which is missing its canopy, sitting on a patch of grass in Mid-America that appears to be between a taxiway and a runway, with its landing gear down. Despite an initial report from KMOV, a local CBS affiliate in St. Louis, they said that only one of the two individuals on board had ejected. Well,
until they couldn't find the other one.
Yeah. Then they realized that the available imagery clearly showed that both seats were missing from the jet. Boeing manufactures the F-15 series of fighter jets, among other aircraft, as you know. But either way, they were doing some training exercises. Training, they say, will continue to include in-person instruction, simulation events, flying operations, and they will be held there through mid-2021. Program is expected to run for a 1-year period. Either way, these guys were out there working. Who knows how far this ejection shot them in the air? It's an F-15.
Right.
I know we have people around here who work for Boeing. What do you think happened? I think one person ended up staying in their seat, and I believe that they landed in the seated position, therefore escaping injury. Because one person walked away from this. So even if you shot that thing up into the air, you got to figure the cockpit itself is probably 10 feet off the ground, right?
Yeah, about that, yeah. When you're sitting there.
10, 12 feet, you look up, there would be the cockpit.
I think it's just how you land.
You land the same,
but even, guys, a parachute, if you land wrong, because depending how you come in, when I skydove once, the guy's like, look, when we're closing in on the ground, just start moving your feet like we're running. Right? That's the thing. It's not like you just land and it's done. Like that thing's still dragging you. And probably about a good 20-foot skid that we had. So we ran a little bit, then you kind of lift your toes up. And we kind of slid on our heels, but I was shocked how far we went. So one of those guys, I'm guessing, got over the fact that they were rejected, simply accepted the fact that they did a boo-boo, understood he needed to land. The other guy maybe was still in a bit of a panic. Maybe he was unconscious.
I don't know.
But went down. And this is the second time we've had this story in about 2 months. Remember, there was a guy a couple of months ago who accidentally ejected out, and I don't think he was the pilot. I think, if I remember right, like he was a guest pilot, so to speak, and got
that the guy that did it on the ground?
Yeah.
There was somebody that hit the wrong button and ejected it on the ground.
Again, and look, I don't know what the inside of a fighter pilot jet looks like, but I would think with certain things, anything where it's real important and you want people to not just touch it, usually it's in red.
Even the hazard button for your emergency flashes on your vehicle.
That's what I'm saying.
A different kind of button in your car.
It's just, but something like eject or firing its guns, I would just assume like those buttons or dials or the digital display or whatever it is, like something about them looks a little different, just to let you know, like, hey, there's a reason stop signs are red.
Yeah, but sometimes things that are right in front of you don't know exist. And I mean,
but it's an eject button.
Especially in a cockpit.
But they're buttons.
Weren't you telling me
buttons are easy to hit?
But no, wait. And look, someone from Boeing, please help us out on this. So I know that the one thing about these new planes, apparently, that they're bragging about, it has bigger, video display and all that. It just seems to me, and this is just me, if I were constructing this plane, like, dude, do not change what ejection looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you drive a car, steering wheels look the same.
Yes.
Just because you understand, like, look, don't offer something new for something really, 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 really important.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't too long ago that Ted and I were talking about my car having maybe an emergency brake. Was it we were having that conversation?
Oh, yeah.
And you said your car's got to have an emergency brake. I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting in that car for 2 years. The car does not have an emergency brake.
It's got to have an emergency brake.
It does. I just never saw it. Right. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I give them a little bit of a pass. But
an emergency brake, look, all right. An emergency brake, though,
which is
not like your brake. It's not like you sat in your car and said, man, I can't slow down. I don't know where the brake. Right. They didn't move that somewhere else. But the emergency brake, sure. Sometimes to pop your trunk, maybe it's a different place. But I feel like eject, that should be effing standard everywhere. And I don't feel like it should be a button. I feel like it should be a pull release.
Something that
you know what I mean? Yeah. Right, because
it depends on the movies you've seen.
Look, and I'm basing this solely on movies, but I feel like people hit buttons. We can't help but hit buttons, right? But if there's a lever that you have to put some muscle into,
even if you
that's
just kind of passed out for a minute, you shouldn't be able to slump into the button.
Yeah, my forehead hits the button.
Right, exactly. So it's got to be something that's kind of locked in there, like a pin on a fire extinguisher or something that's.
So what do you think the conversation was in the Qatar jet? Because these are the two guys from Qatar. They're being trained here. It's part of an agreement they have. And you think the one guy's like, "What do you think this is?" And the other guy going, "Dude, don't pull the."
And that could be part of it. It could be just what the button was labeled and not being able to identify it.
One of them is angrier than the other one. That's all I promise you out of it.
I mean, if it is a button, it has to be red. It has to stick out. But, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm just curious.
Just use, like, the dump button, right? Mm-hmm. That's probably the most important button in here. But sometimes it gets hit by accident.
It does. Yeah, man, I know. But if it were a lever that Mike had to pull back,
Right, that'd be a different ball game.
Because I'd be like, you did not do that by accident. You did not accidentally grab a lever, put some strength into it, I don't know. But either way, I think the training is warranted.
Yeah, well,
They're there to train. These guys blew themselves out of the plane. Like, yeah, okay, this is a good contract to sign.
What was the price tag on that plane?
Oh, my God.
I don't remember, but I mean, this is an expensive buy. So they bought 36 of them, all right? And then, like I said, they're from Boeing. So Boeing's like, hey, come over here. We will teach you how to use these. And these are pilots already, but just, of the specifics to this plane. And maybe they didn't get to the ejection button yet or something.
I mean, I don't know. In my heart of hearts, it's got to be a button. Somehow he just hit it by mistake. Because you're right.
I know.
I've definitely seen movies where it seems like they got to pull something in a eject.
Right, like you have to put some strength
right,
into
like if he did that, then I'm like...
It looks like it's lower right, like a handle.
All right, you're looking at it now.
On the bottom right here, is what I'm going to guess. It's like a yellow type of lever. I'm assuming that's it. I don't know.
Why do you think that's it, though?
Because it says emergency. The only thing I can think of is in the event of an emergency, I'm pulling this thing.
All right.
So I guess that's where how it breaks.
Well, you're in the air. What else could the emergency be?
Yeah, I mean, you need a drink, maybe. You know, I don't know if they have beverage service on these things. They look a little small.
I got to pee.
Yeah. Now we go to Italy. 23.
Hang on. Someone's checking in. It says, look, I was reading a book about the F-4 Phantom pilots in the 70s. And to eject, and granted, it's the 70s, but to eject, they had to use both hands, pull two levers under the seat simultaneously. They're saying it's impossible to do accidentally. Well, apparently not in the new FA-15 or FQ-15, whatever the hell.
Over to Italy we go for this one. A 23-year-old Italian woman is doing well after she accidentally received not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine on Sunday.
All right.
A health worker at the hospital in Tuscany had filled a syringe with an entire vial of the vaccine. That vial, by the way, is supposed to be split, obviously, into 6 different doses. It was only after the shot was administered that she saw 5 empty syringes and realized that she had made a slight mistake.
How?
The woman who received a massive dose, described as an intern in the hospital psychology department, was monitored then for 24 hours before her release on Monday. So she had to stay in the hospital overnight.
I had to only wait 15 minutes, but I only got 1 dose.
She was said to be in good condition after receiving fluids and Tylenol as a precaution. No adverse reaction was reported. Director of Infectious Diseases over there, Antonelli Vicenti, said that there was also a case with other patients in Israel and Germany who got 5 times the normal dose as well, accidentally. Vaccine overdosing, they say, has also occurred in the United States. Nurses in an Iowa State prison gave a higher than normal dose to 77 inmates just last month, according to the Des Moines Register. The union representing prison employees said nurses had been asked to quickly switch from administering the Moderna vaccine, which comes pre-mixed, to the Pfizer vaccine, which is to be diluted. And that apparently didn't happen. But in this case, the 77 inmates, none of them needed hospitalization. But apparently if you do that, you don't feel too good about yourself.
Some more people checking in about the ejection button on it. Because, again, we're just trying to get to the bottom of how do you accidentally do it? That's all. Right. It just can't be a button. So a couple of people check in. They say, all right, the ejection seats are usually a black and yellow loop between the legs or above the head. Someone else says it is not an eject button, but an actual pulling of a lever. The ejection seat is a lever, kind of hard to accidentally pull. All right, that's what I thought.
How high do you fly in the air? Now that we've got that figured out, my question is, how high were these guys shot up into the air, still strapped into their seats?
I would do the math, but I can't. But I believe those things blow you out of there. What, like 200, 300 miles an hour? Like when you pull the ejection seat, right? Because basically it's a bomb on the bottom of your seat and blows your ass out of the plane so you can get clear of it, right? That's the general. Right. So considering the speed that a jet's traveling, the reason you probably have an ejector, I mean, you're talking breakneck speed, man.
And also the jet's it's still flying.
It's still flying. Now, these guys are on the ground, so say it launches you 300 miles an hour, but it's just one throw. So you take 150, 160, 170-pound guy, but there's 2 guys, both traveling, again, I'm just guessing maybe 300 miles an hour. If you just throw them that hard up in the air, that's a pretty good distance, man.
It's got to be.
And these were U.S. pilots.
They were U.S. pilots.
They were, in fact, U.S. pilots.
Hopefully they're not the ones doing the training.
It just doesn't say how high they shot in the air. I was kind of hoping that maybe somebody had... You think, man, you got video of everything. I can't go to the grocery store without you taking my picture like 900 times. How is this not on video somewhere?
What do you got, Mike?
So it says many seats like Goodrich's Aces 2 have a rocket motor fixed underneath the seat. And after the seat and crew member have cleared the cockpit, this rocket will lift the crew member another 100 to 200 feet, depending on the crew member's weight.
Okay. All right.
So it's at least going to blast you 100 feet in the air.
Okay.
So it's like a 10 or 20-story building. Then you got to learn the parachutes have enough time to get out, right?
Yeah.
Because in most cases, when you're skydiving, they're not like, hey, we're pulling us to 200 feet. I mean, you're a couple thousand feet up in the air.
Right. That's why base jumpers hold theirs.
Exactly. They're not pulling I don't know, man.
A DEA agent who accidentally shot himself in the foot while demonstrating gun safety to school children is suing the agency, saying video of the incident has made him the joke of the internet.
Well, come on, man. It's fair. Although, look, the bright side of this, those kids will remember gun safety better than any kid that did not watch the guy shoot himself in the foot, right?
I don't know if he's the joke of the internet, but I can guarantee he's probably the joke of the DEA.
Absolutely.
Lee Page was making a presentation to children at the, get ready for this one, Orlando Youth Minority Golf Association on April 9th.
Orlando Youth Minority Golf Association.
I'm just trying to think how golf and gun safety works into your course etiquette, but I guess that's part of the plan.
That's Florida.
Yeah. Probably packing it right in the bag. You know what I mean? Just in case a gator comes up. I don't know what's going on here. Who knows?
There is no other state that you're right, golfing and gun safety, I don't see it, but it's Florida.
Yeah. Moments before the shooting, the 14-year agency veteran was displaying the firearm, telling students he was the only one in the room professional enough to handle a gun. Yeah, he was suspended for 5 days without pay after the accident, and the video was turned over to the DEA. The lawsuit in federal court that was filed in Washington alleges the agency leaked the video to the public after it surfaced. The tape soon became popular on the internet. It also aired on television, including all of the late-night talk shows. Page, quote, is the target of jokes, ridicule, and disparaging comments because of the publicity, according to the lawsuit, which seeks an unspecified amount. Page, who was 45, told NBC's Today that he cleared the weapon but forgot to release the magazines. Here's the guy that doesn't want the unwanted attention. He doesn't want the ridicule, but he goes on the Today Show, and you know damn well they're going to show the video of him shooting himself in the class, right?
Yeah, it's the Today Show.
There's no way. I was at the point of attempting to demonstrate how the gun could be disassembled and put back together. It is something I've done hundreds of times throughout my career. By the way, Page is a former player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and says he can't work undercover anymore because of the tape. Yesterday, I walk into a salon and a young lady
must not have been very good for the Buccaneers.
I mean, like, the DEA raids my house, and I'm like, man, I know this one dude from Center. Did you go to high school? No. Wait a minute. You played for the Buccaneers.
Right? Is that Gronk?
It's like when Shaquille O'Neal was the sheriff.
This guy's 45 years old. If he's 45 years old, that means he played for the John McKay Buccaneers. Maybe the most embarrassing team in the history of the NFL.
Oh, no, they are.
No.
For 2-3 seasons. They were absolutely horrible. If he's 45 years old.
No. I'm 45.
He's 45 years old.
Those Buccaneers were like in the 80s.
Oh, I mean, 70s.
Was he 45 then or 45 now?
Okay.
Because he shot himself in 2004.
All right, so if he's 45 now, you're right. He would have been playing for at least a better Tampa. Maybe the Tampa Bay team that actually went to the first Super Bowl. Seriously.
He wasn't on the field then, I'm guessing.
I don't know, but either way, yeah, he shot himself.
Because he's in Orlando. So if you live in Orlando, chances are you're a Bucs fan. And if you are a starter on a team that went to a Super Bowl, even for the Buccaneers, deep into the playoffs, you know him instantly.
That might be the Dungy Super Bowl team. But I don't know. I can't do the quick math on it. Either way, though, he is says he can't do his undercover work anymore because people know who he is. How do you walk into a hair salon and get your bees busted by the people?
I like the fact that he's not known from his years of playing NFL football. You're recognized because you're the dummy that shot himself in the foot in the gun safety class.
Our question, who really messed up at work, and did you feel bad for them? 206-421-ROCK, you are listening to The Men's Room.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
Everything is better electrified. Like the guitar, toothbrushes, or cars. And Hyundai has a wide range of electrified vehicles, including the first ever Tucson and Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs. You can use electric when you want it or gas when you need it. It's your journey. Evolve it beyond the pump in the 2022 Tucson or Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs. Visit your nearest Hyundai dealer or learn more at HyundaiUSA.com. Only available in select states. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
99.9 KISW. Yeah! You're in the men's room. The Atlanta Braves pitcher who found as much success this season with his hitting as with his pitching is headed to the injured list with a broken hand. Wasker Inoue, I believe is how you say that.
Wasker. Yeah.
Wasker Inoue?
Wasker Inoue.
His injury came Sunday from hitting the Braves bench. After allowing 5 earned runs in 4.5 innings in Milwaukee, he expressed his frustration by taking it out on the visitors' dugout. The broken bone in his pitching hand will keep him out of action for a couple of months. It's a shame, according to Braves manager Brian Snitker, said Monday probably nobody feels worse about this than he does.
Well, sure, because everyone else is laughing.
He is still putting up impressive numbers on the season. He's got a 4-2 record with a 3.02 ERA, 50 strikeouts, and only 11 walks in 44 2/3 innings. He also drew national attention when he shut out the Washington Nationals for 7 innings, and also then hit a grand slam to propel the Braves to a 6-1 win. So not only you kind of forget sometimes, since we're in AL land, that sometimes these pitchers can hit, and he was doing it both ways for the season. He is batting .353 with 2 home runs.
And see, that's why he was mad. I explained this to someone over the weekend. I said, we're talking about cornhole, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Brian's guy, he's very, very good at cornhole. And I'm very average. And I said, but I enjoy cornhole more than you because I am average. It's like pool, darts, bowling, cornhole, like, I can play, but I'm not great. I don't have those weird expectations. Like, he's mad because he's good. So he had a bad day, took out his frustration. Me, if I threw a strike, that's the only thing I talk about for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Well, and generally growing up, like the pitcher is the best player on the team.
Yeah, 9
They
times
can
out of
throw
10.
and hit. I saw Kerry Wood first time I went to Wrigley Field. Pitched a complete game, 2-0, 2-run home run.
Damn.
Yeah, right. Like,
Impressive.
that's a stat line.
Do you guys remember there was a movie back in the day, and it was filmed at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. It was a football movie. I cannot remember
who was in it.
I cannot
Keanu
remember.
Reeves.
Keanu Reeves was in it
Because it was about the Scabs that played.
And
Oh, right.
Was it the team, the Sharks, or something like
No,
that?
that was,
That was Any Given Sunday.
All right.
Was it
Trying
The
to think-
Replacements?
Yeah, The Replacements was
The
the movie,
Replacements.
but I think it was The Sentinels, right?
Right, that
Okay.
was the team.
The Replacements, the movie itself, was being filmed in Baltimore at the time. All right. And one of the things that they did was they sent out promotional packets. They were having all kinds of different stuff. They were having a movie screening preview, your chance to win these tickets to go down and meet some of the people in the thing and everything else. They sent us these Nerf footballs.
All right.
They're really nice, man. Like, whenever you get a free Nerf football, you're like, this is the greatest promotional item.
Must play with it immediately.
Exactly, right? So we moved into a brand new studio in an old historic building. It took 1.5 years for them to rebuild and redo all these studios. It was an immaculate facility. You walked into the point where you could not believe, if you'd worked in radio, that you were actually working in this place.
Right.
It looked like something that you'd see on television, or it was just a beautiful studio. So, of course, the guy that I'm working with gets this ball in his hand, and he decides that he's going to start throwing it around, throwing it up in the air, whatever, throwing it back and forth, blah, 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 throwing it down the hallway.
Sure.
He throws it to this other person who works for another radio station. He takes the sprinkler head off of the top of the unit that was up right above the board. All right? Keep in mind, this is not cheap stuff in here, right?
Right.
It starts raining down water. I mean, I cannot describe. It's one thing, I'm sure, to turn the sprinkler system on to see how it logically works with its head on.
Right, because it sprays
It's gonna
the water
spray.
out.
But this was like a hose with no nozzle. The nozzle was completely clipped off. I mean, ding, 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 bounce, and then. So,
how long does this last?
This lasts for about 5 minutes until the building could shut the water off. So basically, the entire building to get this done. Now, what you need to know is, in the downstairs of this building, there is the equivalent of a QFC. There's the equivalent of a Fred Meyer below it. It's called a Giant on the East Coast, but it's a grocery store. They had to cut the water off to their grocery store.
All right? No.
Makes sense.
They had to cut the water off to everybody in the building, all right, to get this taken care of. So, needless to say, it was, he felt horrible about this. Right?
I bet he did.
It's a brand new studio. So we had to then go in and work out of a production studio while they went in and just assessed what they would be able to do. And much like if you flooded your basement, they brought in these huge ass fans to dry the carpet out, to dry the board out, and they were just crossing their fingers that since it was just water, that if they dried everything out and let everything dry, that everything hopefully would be fine.
But it's all electronics.
It is electronics.
And everything in here is electronic.
And it was all on. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's all running. Fortunately, nothing was damaged.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know. They dried the board out. They all the computers we as soon as it started happening, we were grabbing stuff, moving stuff out of the way.
But you can't really move the board. You can grab computers. You can't move the board.
But you got to remember, man, I don't know if you guys maybe have jumped into the water one or two times with your clothes on in your life. I mean, half the time if I'm going to jump in the water, I'm just going to get naked and jump in if I don't have a suit. It's so weird to be at work and be head to toe soaking wet. There's no towels available at work.
Well, of course not.
I don't know where you work. There's nothing. I mean, like my underwear are wet. My jeans are wet. My shoes are wet. My socks are wet. I mean, I am soaking wet, like just standing there. I mean, it was insane. And by the way, I mean, you two idiots get in the office right away, or three idiots. So then we're sitting there.
Did you walk in and say, what is this about?
And we're wet, you know what I mean? And we are just getting...
What can we do you for?
We just get reamed the hell out. And I'm going to say it was like a Tuesday, right? And the boss, Lindy's like, I'll see you jackasses on Monday. You just take the rest of the week off because if I see you, I want to kill you. Like, you know what? I want to, because he designed the studios. He was like, it was part of his project to work with the engineers, to put all this together, to design them. This was his baby. You know, like if people came in, he showed them around, and what they did, and took pictures. I mean, you could hear him. Apparently, the people upstairs who also worked with us on a separate floor in a soundproof old building could hear him yelling at us to the point where they stopped doing what they were doing
just to listen in,
because they could hear it going down. Like, what is happening down there? And I felt so, I was glad it wasn't me.
Sure.
Yeah. But at the same point, it was like I was to blame for being a part.
Because you're there. I mean, that's it. You're in the room where there's only three people. You're wet head to toe.
Right.
You're getting the blame as well.
Okay, it's like the Super Bowl, right? Who was Russell Wilson trying to throw the ball to? Do we remember?
Ricardo Luckett.
Okay, that was me. All right? So
Right.
It wasn't like,
I didn't give up the pick.
I didn't make the call. I ran my route. I just didn't get the ball. You know what I mean? I didn't throw the ball. I didn't catch it either. But
Now, look, I'm not a role model, but so you got basically a week off.
Yes,
I know they're angry and they call it a suspension, but from my point of view, like, I got a week off. You want to go drinking? I've been suspended from work twice in radio, right? And the first time I was with you, Miles, and it was a Friday. In like a February, and it was like unexpectedly 70 degrees. So the ball, like I don't remember what the hell he was.
Did we both get suspended that day?
Yeah, and I don't remember what he was mad about, and we didn't care because we just don't care. But he's running his mouth about whatever the hell. Blah, 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 I don't like it. Blah, blah. Get out of here, take the day off. And I'm like, this guy's a fool. It's 70 degrees outside. Mm-hmm. It's Friday. I now have a 3-day week, and I'm like, cool. And that was basically our response. And I remember he started chasing us down the hall because he wanted us to now, like the punishment would have been, let me be mad at you, but you have to do your show. But it's like, too late, bro, I'm out, man. Ooh, I've learned my lesson. I remember getting suspended from Chi-Chi's one. Same thing. Friday, unexpectedly nice outside. Like, yeah, I'm going to really go think about this and learn my lesson. And last time I got suspended for 2 or 3 days, it was nice out. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm going to give you this. When I got suspended from school, you're kind of like, again, you're suspending me because I keep not showing up. So my punishment is, don't show up. Like, okay.
Shouldn't your punishment be you have to come to school?
Yes.
In-school suspension's the worst.
That is absolutely the worst. They told me, don't ever come back for a week. And I'm like, my parents are done being pissed about this. Like, dude, I got 6 good days. Like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. You taught me. That would be like, you know what? You murdered 8 people. Get out of this jail. Be like, all right. Okay. Come back in a month. Sure.
Who really messed up at work, and did you feel bad for him? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Dale. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. So back in my active duty days, I was active duty Navy, got out last year, joined the reserves, I was an AME, which I worked on ejection seats.
Oh,
so I can kind of comment on that story.
Okay, all right.
But this is a different story. So we tow our aircraft around everywhere we go. If you've been in an airport, you kind of see them being towed everywhere as well. Little tow truck, tow bar, hooked up to the nose landing gear. Off they go.
And the whole reason for that is because an airplane can't go in reverse, correct?
Correct. Only the bigger cargo planes can. Our jet fighters cannot.
Okay.
So I was supervising one of our moves. We were taking it to a wash rack to wash it just like you would wash a car. And we're back. One of my junior guys was backing up that tug with the nose bar, and he mistaked the brake for the gas, and he just jammed that tow bar right up underneath the nose landing gear and damaged that landing gear, damaged the tires, the bearings, including the tow bar itself, and even part of the tug.
How much?
And it was at one of those things that you just can't help but laugh.
Well, sure. Was that guy laughing?
At first, no.
Yeah. How much damage does that do financially? It's one thing to wreck your car. It's another thing. We read reports about how much Boeing will sell a certain number of planes for, and it's astronomical. So to damage one of these planes, how much does that cost?
Anywhere between probably close to at least one tire is probably $800 to $1,000.
One tire.
Yep.
Okay.
Government contracting at its finest, babe.
That's amazing.
Good God, dude.
So what about the ejection stuff?
Because there are no buttons, right? It's not just a button. I refuse to believe there's just a button that, like you said, you pass out, hit your head, next thing you know, you're shot the hell out of a plane.
So I can't comment on the aircraft, obviously. I can only comment on the F-18 that I work on. But it is not a button. It is just a rubber loop that is attached to the seat that you just pull. And there's only one of them. So there's one on each seat. There's two seats.
So how do you think these guys both ejected themselves at the same time?
Like, wait for me.
Do you think that it was just connected? Maybe there was only one lever in that aircraft?
I got to see what aircraft it was, but as far as I know, they can't eject at the same time, technically, because it's one right after the other.
Okay.
But there is a sequence controller that will control either both of them will go or only one.
And both of these people are buckled into their seat, and the seat goes with them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How high do you just estimate that they were shot in the air if they were parked in a taxi runway, wherever they were?
If they were parked anywhere between 60 to 100 feet, depending on the size.
So they were shot up in the air anywhere between 60 to 100 feet.
All right, so the next question is, obviously in a typical ejection, the parachute breaks your fall. But if you're only going up 60 to 100 feet, even 200 feet, does the parachute, as far as you know, that they have built into these seats, does that have enough time to open up fully?
Yes, so there is a monitoring system on the seat itself that will monitor the altitude, the descent, the speed of the descent, and it will actually automatically separate the pilot from the seat. So the seat will just free fall down to the ground, and the pilot will be safely.
Okay,
so that probably
land safely on the ground.
That probably explains why one guy was unscathed, the other guy had injuries, had to go to the hospital.
I mean, yes, technically you can only eject once in your lifetime because there's so much force behind it. Because it's a rocket underneath you that it decompresses your spine.
So you're trying to tell me if I could be in the Air Force, and I could be in for 20 years, or however long you were in for. I hit that button on a situation. I basically just decommissioned myself from that assignment.
There are rare stories of pilots ejecting twice, but usually at that time, usually higher ups, they just pull their wings like, okay, you're doing something wrong, you're done.
So why don't they do that with drivers over the age of 70? It just seems like that'd be a good thing in a car. Like, Meemaw drove to the store again.
I can't believe
Well, it's only fighter jets that have ejection seats, right?
Yes.
But it's not like a C-17 you can't eject out of.
No. But I was trying to think. Here's your options. You need to live. That's important.
Yeah.
But by doing that, there's a good chance, A, you're going to lose your job, and B, you're going to have back pain for the rest of your life.
I will
take
take
living over
losing
that.
my
I know,
job
I'm just saying.
with
I mean,
some back
obviously.
pain. I could have gone down in flames with this jet,
can't I just lift the lid and jump out on my own?
I feel like any situation where you have saved your own life, like whatever the repercussions or whoever you made angry in your effort to protect yourself, like you don't care.
Right.
When
the other option is
to die.
death.
Like, yeah, I know you're mad, but dude, I'm okay with your temper tantrum if it's all the same with you. Like, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So, although these guys, it might be a lot different because the plane wasn't doing anything.
Oh, yeah, they're not going to fly.
The runway. I don't even think the jet had been fired up yet. Because it wasn't quite on the taxiway. It was not on the runway. It was in an area in between. Which means it's not rolling. It's not particularly going anywhere. You know, it's just sitting there, and these guys get in. I don't know if they started punching around with the buttons, and I certainly would not think any one of them, if you're trained to the point that you're in the military, you're not like, hey, what's this one do? Right? And pull back on the ejector.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know how it happened.
Who really messed up at work, and did you feel bad for them? As far as feeling bad for someone, a woman in her 50s was killed Thursday afternoon in an industrial accident at a mattress manufacturing plant in Grantsville, Utah. 911 came in at 4:41 in the afternoon, and first responders were dispatched to the Purple Mattress Factory. The first police officer arrived 3 minutes later. He got there immediately. The police were told the woman was standing by a machine and got pulled in and was caught in the moving parts. She was already deceased by the time that first responders were able to extricate her.
No doubt about it.
From this machine. Her body was taken to the office of the Utah Medical Examiner, which will investigate her death. Watson said there is a video of what happened, which will be examined as part of the investigation. From what police can tell based on their preliminary investigation, Watson said this appeared to be, quote, just an accident. Purple, by the way, has shut down the manufacturing of the plant, pending an investigation as we place the health and safety of our employees first and foremost. Also, they needed to clean the machine.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, I hope it's an accident. You wouldn't want anybody to have pushed her in.
Yeah, you got to wonder, because the way they explain it in the story, it leaves a lot of, it just says she's standing near the machine. So it's like, did something go wrong with the machine? Because, like, if you're telling me, hey, man, don't even stand near that because it might suck you in, like, that's not a machine I want on the floor.
I was trying to think what kind of machine makes a mattress, and then what, you know what I mean? Like, I understand certain things. If you're grinding stuff, you have teeth involved, or you've seen, like, you know,
meat grinder,
right? I mean, all
sawmill.
those things make sense. I'm just wondering, like, what was this machine doing? Like, what was it? Was it sewing? Did it have big needles coming up and down? Oh. You know what I mean? Because it stitches the perimeter.
Oh, like the perimeter of the
you know what
mattress.
I mean? Like all the things.
Because, you know, you picture a mattress, it's this fluffy, light, happy thing, and it's not like she got sucked into a machine full of angel feathers. Like, there were gears and things.
My question is, did she come out with a mattress?
Oh, you mean like by the time it was done?
You know what I'm saying? Like, was she like Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back? I mean, was she like in the mattress? I mean, I'm not saying,
or was there a failsafe before I got to that point?
Like, was she just in there? Like, that'd suck.
Yeah.
Who really messed up at work? And did you feel bad for him? 206-421-ROCK.